I was aware, having spoken to lots of astronauts about the descent, what to expect. Separation was very dynamic, and again, in my previous military career, I have had the pleasure of flying some Russian helicopters, and so I'm very familiar with Russian engineering and Russian technology, and it's robust. It works very well, but it's very solid. And when a solid spacecraft is designed to break into 3 parts, it doesn't do it quietly. It does it with a number of pyrotechnic bolts that all go off one after the other, sounding like a very heavy machine gun. And the spacecraft really does blow itself apart, which is really quite exciting to be in the center of this. And these pyrotechnic bolts are, only a few millimeters of metal away from your ear when they go off. And then from then on, the spacecraft is tumbling in a fairly controlled manner, just waiting to enter the Earth's atmosphere. But also, it's great being sat next to the window because you're able to look out. And at that point, I started seeing sparks and flames coming off because all of the multi-layer insulation around the spacecraft is burning away. So it's very exciting to see that. And again, I was warned about that and told that's absolutely normal. Expect to see flames coming past the window. And then once that's burnt off, you get a few moments where you're still waiting for the G's to build up. You haven't really entered the Earth's atmosphere, but you're down at almost 100 kilometers. And I looked out the window, and having spent 6 months watching planet Earth from 400 kilometers in a very controlled attitude, to look out the window and see Earth approaching at 100 kilometers in what looked like a fairly uncontrolled attitude was really quite surprising. And you really get a very strong sensation that you are just falling back to the planet. And then the G's start to build up. And the G's actually come on fairly slowly, so you get plenty of time to get used to that. But towards the end, you are doing 4.5 G's, which after 6 months of zero gravity is quite a lot. So you're having to control your breathing and work on that. The capsule, it gets very hot, extremely hot. And so you're working hard against the G, you're working hard against the heat. Your visors are down, you don't have much ventilation inside. You're having to read the systems as well and check the spacecraft. So there's an awful lot going on, and at the same time, you're trying to memorize the experience. But no, it's a wonderful ride, and then probably the most dynamic part is when the parachute opens, the drogue chute, and you get about 20 seconds where the capsule is being completely flung around, and you just have to really hold on and wait for it all to stop. I was told actually that would stop with a big jolt as the main chute opened, but in our case it didn't. The main chute must have been a very gentle opening, so I wasn't even aware that the main chute had opened. And the clock was running, and I'm very aware of exactly what should happen, exactly what time, and the time had gone beyond the point at which the main chute had opened. So for a second I was concerned. I looked across to Yuri, and he was just sat there so relaxed and cool as he always is. I thought, well, if we didn't have a main parachute opening, he wouldn't be looking as cool as that. So I was quite comfortable at that stage that we must be under the main canopy. And then you get a few moments of respite where you can gather your thoughts and get yourself ready for the landing.